Hi, and welcome to this chat with me and Di today. It's great to have Di back here. It's been like 10 months since we had a chat, so this is going to be awesome. So much to talk about. 2.5 weeks into 2024, and it's all kicking off already. So I was going to wait a little while until I had my new glasses so I wouldn't get the flashing lens thing going on, because they're non-reflective lenses, these ones, but there's just too much to talk about, so we'll get into it. So for those of you who don't know Di, she is the co-founder of Mana Wahine Kōrero, which in English translates to Sovereign Women Speak. And I'd just like to take this moment to say that Di is very generous about my somewhat hit and miss pronunciation of Te Reo Māori, which means the Māori language, which is also sometimes just called Te Reo. Unlike the younger members of my extended family, I'd have to say, who now learn Te Reo Māori in school and make fun of me for my pronunciation. On the agenda to talk about today, but we'll also just go with the flow, is our new coalition government's policy to go back to naming government departments in English after the previous government renamed them all from English to Te Reo Māori, why some Māori don't object to that, and how that has some comparison to what is happening to women's language. Di will also talk about how this is ruining midwives' language as well. There's a lot going on there, and it's it's pretty disgraceful, in fact. Di will talk about that. We'll also mention Mana Wahine Kōrero's parliamentary petition, and the link to where you can sign that will be in the description. I also have an open letter to the Christchurch City Council for anyone who is a current or potential resident or visitor to Christchurch to sign about their intentional omission of the word sex from their draft equity and inclusion policy. That link will also be in the description. And of course, there is a t-shirt saga at the New World Ultaki supermarket. This was a complete abandonment of reasonable behaviour by the staff member and manager. Mana Wahine Kōrero are fundraising for legal fees to challenge this, which I believe is a first here in New Zealand, via their Buy Me a Coffee platform. And the link to that is also in the description below. Right. We'll get into it. Is there anything more you'd like to tell us about yourself and Mana Wahine Kōrero before we start our chat about the above topics? What about where
only that,
like people to follow you or something like that? Just on X, is it?
On X, on Substack, and very soon we're going to have a web page.
Oh, excellent, excellent. I'll put those links down in the description.
Yes, but it's not ready to launch yet, but some citizen has been following us and watching our work and is kindly, very kindly building us a web page.
Lovely. Yeah, that'll make a huge difference.
Yes, it will. Thanks for having me again, Katrina. Gosh, there's been so much happening and time does go so fast. It's just incredible. 10 months, gosh, it only feels like just the other week we were chatting, and we probably were because of Christchurch City Council.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we did have a chat about that. Yeah. But 10 months since we had a YouTube chat, so yeah, looking forward to this. I hope everyone else is too. Yeah.
Yes, so, and I might be a bit stilted today because unlike me, I've got notes.
Yeah,
because it's very important that I get this across as clear as I can.
All right.
Instead of just yapping to it.
Yeah, you're usually really well, but anyway, notes are good too.
Yes. You'll see when I start going to my notes why they're written.
Right. Like kick off then. Go for it. Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's talk about all this renaming of government departments in Te Reo Māori.
Yeah.
You know, it's totally ridiculous. You know, I just want to make it very clear that Te Reo is a protected language of New Zealand and it is protected for Māori. We are the ones with the living memory of everything that happened. and how it was pushed underground. It's our living memory, no one else's. So it isn't protected for everyone. It is protected for Māori. And as those of us who, like my age, who are, still learning it or coming to learn it, right before our very eyes, the meanings are being changed and the cadence of it is changing, the melodious, the sound of it is changing because it is woke te reo. It's been very, very anglicised, whereas I always used to compare te reo to like Shakespeare because it's very poetic.
Right.
And it's losing that. I don't know if anyone else has noticed or it's just me, but I do notice like you know how expressive my face is, and I can't hide what I'm thinking because I'm very expressive. That is really standard for Māori. I am seeing that being lost.
Now, is this because Māori was traditionally an oral language? So the expressions, the facial expressions sort of were very important in delivering the story or the message or whatever. Right.
Yes, and like there's lots of stories of the beautiful oration that took 24 hours.
Well, one person speaking 24 hours.
Yeah. This is in one of the a couple of New Zealand novels and that, which they're historically correct, but then a story is woven around them.
Yeah.
And you hear it in some of the oration where or in the singing, please give us the melodious tunes of the birds.
Right.
Please can the birds carry my message to the ears that need to hear it and tickle them. This is this is the way things used to be expressed and not so much anymore. So that's for me. And
so you're saying that when you popularize it, you just really start losing depth to it.
And yes, all the kids. And what also happens, Katrina, is once the state changes the meanings, the original meanings are lost.
Yeah.
So
I understand that.
I'll speak very briefly on the scope of practice to the midwives, and they've called it pautama. Now, the po in the ground is that rako, the stick in the ground. You know how they put the po up at Parliament? You drive into Rororoa or coming, there's po everywhere now. They're firmly in the ground. Right now, pautama is about the state of being for the goodness of all to improve everyone in that whānau hapu iwi. It's that journey, dare I use that word, but the steps we take to always be better than our ancestors, to always go that bit more, to make things that bit better for others, not for ourselves. Okay, so this is, but pautama, so that meaning that I've just told you is now stairway to heaven. So for me, the first thing that's wrong is they've taken the po out of the ground. It's no longer firmly planted. And it's gone up to heaven. It's nothing about the celestial beings or the gods.
So you're saying that this is the way they're using Māori is it's saying this nonsense. Right.
Yes. Right. And so when you look up pautama, instead of getting the journey of betterment for the whānau hapu iwi and that improvement as people, that I believe everyone does, not just Māori, like it's our job to be better and fight just like the generations before us.
Right, yeah.
Carrying on that. Okay? That's all gone. It now means stairway to heaven.
Right. Okay.
And this is the problem with it being changed. Original meanings are buried and lost.
Yeah, I don't think Māori would have had an expression stairway to heaven once, would they?
No. But when I speak to Māori about this, young and old, the ones I have spoken to, they do a rage bark laugh, and that's all we've got left is a rage bark laugh. We're just barking at the ridiculousness of it and laughing in hysterics because it's ridiculous.
So this this popularizing
Yes.
of it, that's come from, has it come from sort of like academia or something?
All this malfeasance that we're seeing today is from academia. There's a reason things are called theories.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Things are called a theory because it's a theory.
Yeah. Sounds good in
You
your
know,
head.
like,
Yeah.
yes. Hey, I won't even say what I'm thinking about things in your head. Or I might actually, because I mean, we're all adults here, you know, like a lot of people, feel free to cut this part out, but they talk about threesomes and their sexual life. And 9 times out of 10, they're going, God, I should have kept that in my head because it went horribly pear-shaped and wrong.
Oh, look, I without trying to give myself away too much, I think I can understand the concept of that.
Yes. And
Yeah.
the other thing with the state changing our language, mate, is it's romanticized and infantilized.
Yeah, because of course it's made simple so that, everyone can understand it, on a superficial level.
Very, very superficial, very superficial. Like, so they've turned the potama, that's the name of the scope of practice that those clowns went on with the midwives.
Mm.
And
So
so now,
just to clarify, that's the Midwifery Council, not the Midwifery College, because the Midwifery College, I believe, so
correct.
far are resisting this change in
Yes.
language. Yeah.
But even this, the council, this is the second go at it. The first go, they got heaps of
Yeah.
people going, no, cut it out, you can't do it.
Yeah.
And so they just dug down, worked for 4 more years and carried on.
They get so obdurate about it, so absolutely adamant, isn't it? It's like someone put a chip in their head or something like that, and they can't. The program is just so embedded that they just can't digress from it or diverge from it.
And I also think this ties into a class issue. This is
Right.
a class issue, Katrina. People don't, you know, like, it's a class issue. There's no 2 ways about it. People think they have the right, it's our right to use te reo and do all their
Okay.
virtual signalling and everything with it. It doesn't matter that a Māori women's group is going, hey, it's really problematic. People will still insist upon using it and doing it because it's a fantastic virtual signal.
Well,
And that's all it is.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter that it's damaging to tangata whenua. It doesn't matter that they're damaging te reo in the long run. It's just get those virtual signal points.
Yeah, it is like that. I reckon. Years and years ago, when there was a drive that you could see the drive to start sort of teaching te reo Māori again. In is that called kohanga reo, the kindergartens? Yeah. Anyway,
Yes,
yeah.
kohanga reo.
And I remember,
Yeah.
and I can't remember who it was. It said that I think it was a bloke. He said that it's a taonga, a treasure. And I was sort of like read that, and I kind of rolled my eyes, but I thought, well, how can language be a treasure? It's just language, and it was only, I mean, obviously since I've known you, I've learned so much. It's been really great because just learning sort of so much about a culture that's right on my doorstep and which I never really sort of learned about before has been really good. And
Oh,
um, and I started to realize, of course, after we started using the women's language, how we know actually what they mean by language as a treasure. Yeah, and you need to
yes.
protect it. You need to guard it. There's just so much more to language than just the words that are written down or whatever.
Yes.
There's a whole
See,
culture behind it.
yes, because unlike English, Māori is very conceptual. It's
Yeah,
very conceptual. So, like, like if we talk about being whakamā, the average Kiwi thinks, oh, she means shy.
yeah,
People aren't homeless because they're shy. Now, whakamā has many, many meanings and feelings associated with that one word.
right.
There's shame, there's ashamed, there's shy, there's reluctance. And all those words have feelings. And all those feelings come into that one word. So I mean about the concepts. So as Māori, and you say whakama, immediately in my mind is the amount of feelings this person is carrying. First, the first thing up is this gunny sack of feelings, and what an awful place to be.
Okay, yeah. So it just like just a lot depends on the environment you're using it in, or that the environment you're meeting people in, or something like that.
Yes, the environment, what precedes the word, what comes after the word. You know, there's you know, these words can change just by the context it's in. You know, so it's Māori to me anyway, te reo. I think we've got 13 letters, and then we've got the WHNG and NGA, okay, plus the 13 letters. For me, it is one of the most hardest working, smallest languages ever.
Yeah, I didn't realise it only had so few letters. I must admit, just a little while ago. Yeah. Yeah,
it was 13 or 16. I can't remember offhand. Oh, I should have written it down.
But yeah, but as you say, it does a lot of heavy lifting for just having so few letters. Yeah.
Yes, and when I, you know, draw up in my memories of the old people that, you know, throughout my life that have spoken it, and I listen to it now, and it's way different. It's very different. I'm very saddened by it, but the wholesale, everyone thinking it's theirs and using it as they see fit is actually, you know, to me, it's disrespectful. It's lazy, and it's not yours.
No. And I think that, as you say, that's the woke concept of not understanding that sometimes, you know, it's not popularizing something is not always the way to go, you know, making it kind of common, you know, it's not always the way to go.
And it's really, apart from enraging, hence the rage bark, laugh, I'm really saddened by it that these elites and these academics have got together with the midwives, and they've renamed midwives as kahu pōkai. Okay, now if we look at kahu and pōkai, they both mean birds, they both mean flocks, except for kahu is to swarm, pōkai is to assemble, right? But wait, now this is out of the Williams Dictionary, 1838, 2 years before the Waitangi Treaty of Waitangi. This is from the 7th edition in 1990. So this is almost right before the wokenese took over. So kahu pōkai, noun, flock of birds, host or swarm of flies.
Oh my God.
Verb 2, to wind string. This is an example. Flax, surround it as in wrap, like how fishermen whip things. You get string on something, and that's called whipping. It's akin to just wrapping your lunch in glad wrap or packing your suitcase. Verb 3, to travel about and assemble. So a host of birds travelling about and assembling to wrap up the whānau, because that's a new name for mother. Okay.
Yes, I saw the scope of practice. So we should clarify the scope of practice for this the Midwifery Council have put out a new scope of practice whereby the words mother, child, baby, is that right? They've removed those words,
yes,
you know, and they've replaced them with some Māori words, is that right? Like whānau instead of mother. Everything's about whānau, like family. So, you know, they centre the family now instead of the mother.
Which is really bizarre, because all social work practice, all health practice, all of those humanities practices say, you know, one of the burning questions that they teach any practitioner in their mind is, who's your client?
Yeah, exactly.
Who's your client? So that really smacks of me. So altogether, kahu pōkai in this scope is the only references to woman and pregnancy and babies are the stillbirths. That's it. And for the highborn princesses, lying in for the highborn princesses. Otherwise, it's all death, mourning, birds of prey, flocks and hosts of birds travelling and assembling. It also talks about the amniotic sac and, birds and their cloaks. And so it's actually got nothing to do with childbirth. And then on page 2 of the kahu, they talk about how kahu kura, which is the atua of the rainbow. Now, I find this very sinister with all the malfeasance the rainbow is inflicting upon everyone.
Yes, the rainbow racket.
Okay, and now, if you look at birds in history, we have one good bird, and that's the stork. And that's from Hans Christian Andersen, I've since found out. But in Egyptian mythology and Greek mythology, they're not very nice. We even have, in our mythology, the hatupatu with the bird woman.
Right. Is that good or bad?
Right. Hatupatu is, I'll send it to you when we're finished here. But she's a bird woman, and no, she's not very nice. And I remember the pictures in the story as a kid, and it was all, don't want the bird lady to come and get us. Now, they got all this stuff about birds, and this is to do with women and childbirth.
Yeah.
And it's all to do with birds and all sorts of stuff. And birds are not the harbingers of good. We have a murder of crows.
Yeah.
Like, I challenge it.
What occurs to me is like, do you remember 60s and 70s, or mostly 60s, how women would get called birds? It was
yes.
It was sort of like a.
This is my bird.
Yeah.
What are you birds? Yeah.
Yeah. So it seems like.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It seems bizarre to go back to that kind of language.
I find it really sinister, more than bizarre. I find it sinister because the only reference to woman or babies is in talking about the spirit of the stillborn infant.
Yeah. Not the celebration of pregnancy or anything like that.
Yes, and I don't think the housed eagle would have left babies alone. Indeed, there are records of the housed eagle picking up children, babies, old people, and the infirm. There are actual recorded stories of this.
That's one strong bird.
Yes. Well, the housed eagle, mate, is huge, and we thought albatross were big. Right. So to put women in and Pepe, to put them in the realm of manu is ridiculous. It is disrespectful, and it is self-serving. We need to stop bastardizing the language for the academics and for virtual signalling. It has to stop. It is not on. Māori are just learning it, and as quick as we're learning it, they're bastardizing it.
Yes, I can see that. Yeah.
So, it's
the midwives. I mean, it's just like, where they should be centering women and babies, and they're taking them out of the language that they use.
It's incredible because, the scope of practice, we do have a brave midwife has put her head above the parapet and has started a petition to stop this happening.
Yeah.
And kudos to her, Katrina. I won't say her name, not just because I can't remember it. No, I can remember it. But so I will get this petition to you, and if you wouldn't mind putting it at the bottom of this as well, so that we can just stop this. Women and children deserve privacy, dignity, and respect.
Yeah. And
it is that simple.
And use the word woman, because I really understand, sometimes, and I'm afraid it is a bit like this. Sometimes you've got to experience something before you fully understand the issues behind it. And I understand, like, you know, like years ago when Te Reo Māori was being, when it was felt it was being lost, you know, so there was a
Yes.
drive to sort of teach it again. And I understand now how that must have felt, because of the fact of losing the woman's language, like you're talking the midwives' scope of practice, just all the words for woman being taken out, and just everywhere, you know, like the Ministry of Health calling us someone with a cervix
Yes.
and things like that. I
And
mean, I
yes,
really understand that loss now of your language, you know, and everything. So
it's like a physical pain, isn't it?
it is,
It's
it's
just,
very physical. It's very physical.
it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Just what, you know, to be reduced, and it has to stop. You know, and as for these virtual signalers and change who use it just indiscriminately because they look good, you don't look good, you look ridiculous.
yeah, you know, I think about
Because
these.
we see you, and we know you're doing it willingly, knowing there is a fight to stop it. There's
Yeah.
a lot of groups that do this, a lot of organisations, and it's all the latest thing. And for this midwife thing, you know, this whole thing changed because there were 12 lunatic women who thought they were non-binary or men, the
Yeah.
ones who thought, you know, and blocked their breasts off. So there's been 12 women in New Zealand that this is happening for because they don't want to be called a woman. And me personally, I just want to get them and go slap, slap. You don't want to be a woman, but you're doing the thing that only women can do and want us to change our language for you, you entitled little brat.
Yeah. Yeah.
She
I think I really think you'd have a lot of people on board with you there, Ty.
you
Because
know,
it's mindless. It's absolutely mindless, you know.
you know,
Yeah.
this is how dare you denigrate my nanny and my mother in this way, let alone me and my moko. How dare you?
Yeah. Yeah, I
It's
agree.
you know, the suffragettes. Hey, New Zealand's the first to give women the vote, and now here comes another rage bark laugh because we have nothing left because of the fucking rainbow. They've taken it all in every service, every word. They've taken it for people with mental health issues. This is mental
Yeah.
health. We are not bloody clownfish. We are not avocados. We are not seahorses. We are very complex beings. We cannot change sex. Even intersex people are either male or female, whether they like it or not.
Yeah. And I mean,
You
that
know,
goes the same, like, you know, you're male or female, whether you like it or not. You know, I mean,
that's right.
most girls, you know, hate puberty. You know, I mean, they really do. I mean,
And boys. Most
and boys,
people hate puberty.
yeah, yeah. I mean, your body start doing things. I mean, I remember your body starts doing things
Oh,
that you're mentally and
oh,
emotionally not prepared for. You know, it takes a few years to grow into that. You know, and mentally and
yes.
emotionally to grow into what your body's, or to align with what your body's doing. You know, so
Yes, I remember
yeah,
puberty, and you look at you know, you look at these teenagers, and they're all arms and legs.
yeah,
Hey, so that growth stage. Now, the thing with puberty, you know, that development isn't just about our sex characteristics. You
yes,
know, it's about our cognitions, it's about our
mm,
muscles, our bone, our body. It's about the whole parcel we come in.
finding our
Puberty
place in the
is
world.
finding our place in the world. It's where we learn to separate because you know, we kind of suss our parents aren't God, and they do
Yeah,
tell lies, and they were tricking me, and you know, and it's all this that there's a lot happening. It's a
yeah,
very, very confusing time. Like, you know, for women, you know, our menstruation starts, and for our boys, they keep waking up with bloody wetting the sheets. You know,
yeah,
and then have to try and hide it from mum, and you know, because of all the shame and everything about a most natural part. And
yeah,
now we're just willy-nilly interfering, particularly with young girls' puberty, because this tranny stuff is just attacking young girls more than boys. And you know what I noticed, Katrina, when I look at some of the overseas videos of the trans cult, and because it is a cult, is that I see a lot of these young women who aren't yet 20 or maybe early 20s who have done this to themselves have walking aids.
Yes. Now I haven't seen that myself, but I've been hearing more and more talk about that or reading about it. Yeah, people seeing that sort of thing. So
Yeah.
that's and I believe the World Health Organization now have just pulled back on their just before Christmas. They're putting forward proposals about including gender affirming care for children and some guidelines or whatever. And of course, there was a mass uh, call to sort of put in submissions, and I believe I think Jan Rivers put one in,
Yes.
which I believe was very quite comprehensive. And I've heard just recently that the World Health Organization have now pulled back from doing that, so that's good news. Now you've got a petition in at Parliament too, haven't you, about that, about
Yes.
gender
Oh,
affirming care or
yes.
something?
About the We've got a petition in about the rainbow care and the money because we want answers. Because, as you know, in New Zealand, we're in this cost of living crisis. Like, I went to the supermarket just before Christmas and I just stood there. Just stood there for about, I don't know, 40 seconds. Really, really just what? WTF. Not even 5 kilos of potatoes was $15.
$15. Oh my goodness.
$15. And it wasn't even 5 kilos, and I'm just, what? So we've got,
Yeah.
we've got a lot of like psych services, mate, are totally underfunded, understaffed. We've got one service in Wellington with over 500 clients on its books that uses a English psychiatrist via Zoom for 3 hours a day, 5 days a week. Well, I'm pretty sure these people on their books need them on Saturday and Sunday as well.
Yeah.
In 3 hours a day. So all this underfunding, and then Yvonne Van Dugan, is that Van Dugan?
Yvonne Van Dongen.
Thank
Dongen,
you. Done this
Dongen.
wonderful expose,
Oh, wasn't it?
wonderful
Yes.
expose
Yeah.
of the rainbow organisations
Yeah.
and how much money they have. And it's almost as much as what those elite Māori are raking in.
It's just turned into a real racket, hasn't it? And I call it the neo rainbow
It is
racket.
it's racketeering.
Yeah, yeah. I was
It is
staggered at
it
the
is
money,
racketeering. They're
the
taking all
figures that
this
she was
taxpayers'
quoting.
money.
The figures she was quoting staggered me. That she found, and they were easy to find.
Amazing.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yes.
anyway, I believe that she might be doing a bit more
Oh,
digging.
yes.
So
But
that'll be good.
speaking of that,
Yes.
yes, speaking of that, the Charities Commission has altered how they do their reporting of what's available to the public.
It's like hiding things. Is that in that way?
Yes, yes,
Oh, let
yes,
me guess.
yes. I know it was a
I
brilliant
bet there's
piece
a
of writing.
TQ. I bet there's a TQ on the Charities Commission board or
Oh, there will be. They want a
whatever.
TQ. The last government was hell bent to having a TQ on every board and in every home in New Zealand, which is ridiculous. So we're stopping these young women going through puberty, and as a special gift, you can't have puberty, but look, we're going to give you menopause.
Yes,
By the time
nice
you're
early
20.
menopause.
Nice early menopause,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
it's
yeah.
just, but New Zealand is waking up, albeit slowly. And
Yeah.
we're back to this being a class issue. Elite Māori are saying it's okay, and us commoners are going, no, it's not. You're wrong.
Yeah.
Because they're taking the words, like I say, birds. What have birds got to do with us? What are these lying in for highborn woman words? What arrogance is this? None of it makes any sense when we're talking about Mama and Pepe.
No. I mean,
And
I'd like to
then,
be a highborn
hey,
woman. So be nice to be a
yes,
highborn
yes.
woman, just sort of, lying around and I don't know. Yeah, just
Someone peeling your grapes.
so, yeah. Now, how
Hey,
many
and
of
then
them are there? How many highborn women are there that get that kind of life? Yeah. So compared to sort of,
yes,
just your average and your
average.
working class woman. Yeah, yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
there's more of us working class than there are than these highborn, and just the whole taking things out of context and repurposing it for a use where it doesn't belong is very, very sinister.
I'm staggered actually
Because
when you
like I
talk
say,
about
all
that.
through history,
When you talk about what those words mean, or what they originally meant, and how they're being used now, I think, well, how did that happen? Because I mean, I can in English you can see some sort of evolution of language because it's used all the time, and I think, well, how did that happen with
yes,
te reo? You know, that it
Be-
got from there
because
to this.
the thing with English is that there is an accepted. Everyone accepts that these are English words. It's all except that has been for a few centuries. And this is in all our thesaurus, our dictionaries, and it's an accepted that this is English. Te reo has no such thing. So it's wide open.
Yeah, yeah.
And
So,
you know, with all our dialects and
yeah.
going back to the only highborn people. Okay, back to this highborn, because the only highborn people are the trans and the non-binary rainbow Atua people. Mandated cultural humility specifically to them. And they're using te reo to do it. And I've said for ages, hey, so it's
them the
about them.
highborn. They're calling them the
Yep.
highborn.
Yes, that's what the mandated cultural humility is about them. And I've said for a long time, Katrina, that when this all comes to an end, because it will,
Yes, yes, it will.
Māori will be blamed.
I do remember you saying that. Yes, because once you start putting that language in there, it'll be like, well, what were they thinking? That
Yes,
kind of
yes,
thing. What were they thinking to do that?
yes, yes, we will be blamed. Because this is Dr. George Parker, who's like, oh gosh, mate. I can only think of, you know, when Gavin Hubbard lost and he was wreathed in humiliation, euphoria. You look at this photo of him and he's got a humiliation fetish and he's on stage being humiliated, almost creaming in his pants. That is what Dr.
What's that
George,
thing? That heart
yes,
thing or whatever.
that heart thing,
Yeah.
yeah, and that humiliation. Dr. George Parker has that same look when she talks about mandated cultural humility. And it was all about the non-binary and the trans.
All right. All right.
Yes,
So,
you go look at her face.
you know, I
Her
reckon that
face, even though
these women who get fully on board with this, I reckon they must have a bit of a humility fetish as well. Humility thing going
don't
on.
have
Otherwise,
to.
why would they front and center men over women? You know, like in women's language and women's places and spaces.
Well, I think, because A, they're harder thinking, B, you know, how many generations of women, you know, because we put it to the backdrop of the wars where men, the numbers were wiped out, and so they did become precious because of the numbers of them. And so women have internalized this hatred that we are nothing, we deserve nothing, and we're only women.
Well, yeah, I would say there's something in that. Yeah, yeah, because you know the
Yeah,
men go and make the ultimate sacrifice type of thing, and you know, and yeah, so
and then it takes the generations to change things, but we haven't actually got time for generations to pass to stop this. Everyone needs to stand up and push against it because it is insanity. It is harming youth, it is harming children, it is harming men, and it is harming women. There is no one that is not harmed by this. And these parents who trot out their little rainbow toddlers make me want to just do bad things to them, Katrina, because trans children equals vegan cats.
I know, and even me as a
Children,
vegan, I
yeah.
haven't made my cat vegan.
Hey, you know,
Yeah.
like the children can't consent.
Yeah, yeah.
Children can't consent to this. It's just some lonely, desperate adult who suddenly found the hub box of the internet and is suddenly popular.
Yeah. It's like a
You know,
wee vicarious thrill in a way. You know, they
yes,
something that gives them
yes.
a bit of a thrill without having to actually sort of do anything very much themselves, you know.
Yes, and then like all the TRAs come in and you're wonderful, you're famous, or they're beautiful, and then we get into like Desmond is amazing, a young boy who performs drags for adults.
Oh yes, yeah. Oh
So
yeah.
there's nothing good about this.
So that parliamentary petition, is it about sort of taking the gender affirming care nonsense out of the Ministry of Health or something like that, right? Yeah, I have signed it, and
And
I can't remember
yes,
what it said.
well, Christmas and New Year, and then the t-shirt
Yeah,
debacle come up, but it is about manawa hene kororo. We want answers. Who, and we're tracking it down to who begun this, and it's no surprise whose name keeps appearing, and
the
they've
same
gone now
ones.
for Billy.
Yeah,
The
same
same
one.
ones, time and time again.
Yeah,
You cannot even rely on the Encyclopedia of New Zealand to tell the truth anymore because of this garbage we're talking about. The taking the language, the bastardizing of it, and making up meanings that weren't there before. And the new meanings are the ones that are going to be left behind, and the real meanings will be lost for virtual signalers. And it really, really pisses me off.
yeah. I see that.
You
Yeah,
know,
well,
like
and
this is,
understand it as well. Actually, I really do. I mean, I
you
would be
know,
furious as well. I mean, you've almost lost your language once, in a way, and now it's
and
now
then, and
now
now
it's, yeah,
we're losing it again.
starting to
And,
lose it again. Yeah.
like all these elite Māori everywhere, we got a Māori party in there. Not one of them has spoken about the 57 babies that have been murdered.
And over what
Surely
period of
this is
time?
more important.
Over what
Over the
period of time?
period of time of Oranga Tamariki, so I think that's 6 years.
Right, oh, 57.
And like who killed Baby Roo? Someone
Yeah.
knows, the two people know. So, police are harassing women for wearing t-shirts
Yes.
instead
Yes.
of instead of putting the pressure on these people
Talking
to
about
find out who did
t-shirts, shall we talk about that? Shall we talk
I'll
about
go on.
that?
Well, yes, we will. Like, oh, it's
Look,
been really terrible, Katrina. It's a lot of stress and pressure. But the one thing that if you know about our sisters is we're not liars, and we
yes,
stand for our
absolutely.
toe is firm. Our toe is firmly in the ground,
Yeah.
and when we're wrong, we are quite happy to go. Oh no, I made a mistake. Sorry about that.
Well, that's
You
what
know,
that's what I know about you. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so when I've made a mistake, no, I buggered that up, quickly take that out. No, that was the wrong number. So my sister was in the supermarket wearing her men are not woman, even if you squint shirt. And the transvestite behind the counter took offence, told her it was because of her t-shirt and she could get her banned. The hand of God come down and escorted her out, right? So an all new world and foodstuffs and are talking about previous incidents. Now I want to talk to these previous incidents because the three sisters are always mistaken for each other.
Yeah, I remember you saying
Right?
that.
No, well, if you look on the video that I've done a thank you, someone's said something to Rex. Yeah, Rex, that's really
Right.
good.
Yeah, yeah. And it was
Yes,
you.
yes.
Yeah.
And it was me. Us three have been in the same room and mistaken for each other. And this woman's chatting away and going to me, so how is Diane? I go, oh, I'm good, thanks. So it's like I'm not just saying it. It happens
Yeah.
time and time again.
Yeah.
What has happened is the three of us have been in there. I think it's quite normal to speak to your checkout operator about your day,
Yeah. Well, they usually
about
say, how's
whatever
your
you're
day?
up to.
Yeah.
Yeah, or you just chat to them and go, I've just done a submission about the self-sex ID. And then you get thunderous, like you've just shit in a fruit salad or something. So you stop. right?
Yeah.
So they have mixed up the sisters and taken the fact that we chat to them, because I can tell you there's no other place we would,
Yeah.
as incidents. And let me put a challenge out to New World and Foodstuffs. Where are these other incidences in your logbook and your OSH? Where are they? Where are sisters' previous warnings for this previous behaviour you pulled out of your ass? Because there isn't any.
I'd suggest to these supermarkets, if they don't want customers telling them about their day and what they've been up to, then stop asking us, how's your day going? Or how are you?
Yes.
I mean,
But
that's what they're taught to do, because this is supposed to be the customer service thing, they come through and they go, how's your day?
Yes.
How's your day going? They're not really interested in
God,
everything.
I've just done a submission, and because we're always protesting. The other thing, now this is very much a class issue, okay? Because we don't have this is a class issue. Oh, those landies, they must have asked for it. Ah, yes, they would have. Like I openly said on Sean Plunkett, if it was Rex or I, you could all but guarantee we'd been rude when someone had bloody said something to us, but not our big sister. She's she's a matriarch, mate. There's no way she'd be rude like that until she was escorted out. And some other woman says, well, you shouldn't have provoked him. What? You want us to lie down and think of England every time we're challenged?
I mean, that really
this is why
my nose as well. You should be behaving yourselves. Like whatever's done to you. Oh, why didn't you behave? Why did you provoke? Well,
yes,
and I think,
and
I think
this is what the point people are missing is. This is about free speech and the control of food. At a flick of a switch, all of us can be refused service. 2 companies control the food in New Zealand. Don't be thinking it won't and can't happen to you. This is the point they're missing. It's a very big point, Katrina, that the control of food in New Zealand is with 2 companies, and if they don't like you, they can just boot you out.
Yeah.
And where are you going to go? But the houses that they're building, you can't have a garden. There's no space. It's all concrete.
Yeah. No, they're tiny now. I mean, so many apartments as well, especially sort of people on lower incomes, they end up in the apartments and multi-complex apartments. Yeah.
And so for people to be self-reliant in these I'll just call them tenement blocks, mate, where are they going to have a garden? What happens when the controllers of the food come for you? What are you going to do?
Yeah.
Because this is about those 2 issues, the duopoly in New Zealand of who controls the food and free speech. Women should not have to wear a burqa or be in a nun's habit to be served at a supermarket. Hey, we should not be dictated to what we have to wear. And it's a lot bigger than just a T-shirt. Hey, well, this is free speech.
We have seen some pretty offensive T-shirts before in our time, haven't we? Like the sort of things that quite often some men will wear, pretty offensive. And the thing is that you just have to turn away from them. You don't.
What about the TRAs have a T-shirt, and there's a T-shirt out there, Katrina, that says "Dead girls don't say no." Now I kind of find that really offensive.
Yes. Yeah.
I find the fact that these men, these TRAs, can wear T-shirts with guns on, calling to kill TERFs, which is us. But I just don't look at them. God.
I'd like to know when the last time that supermarket manager or anyone from that supermarket was kicked out for a T-shirt they were wearing. Because that supermarket's would have been there for years and years and years. There would have been plenty of offensive T-shirts going through there. When was the last time they kicked someone out for have a slogan on their T-shirt that they didn't like, that the staff member didn't like?
Never have.
I would put money on it that too.
It's never happened. And the fact that the transvestite that got upset, he isn't even trying.
I saw he had a hairband on.
Yes, yes. But that headband, yeah, the headband was a double A to hide the male pattern baldness. But that's what that was for. And so the manager at the New World now has only been there for 2 years, maybe 3.
Right.
And I believe his pattern has gone New World Remuera, Wellington Railway Station, or Taki.
Okay.
Now, I've been having laughs and everything and think, yeah, it keeps us, but it's really bad. This is about food security, the control of the food and freedom of speech. It isn't about my sister wearing a T-shirt, although it is.
Yes. Well, that's what kicked it off.
Issues.
There's always something that starts it, that kicks it off, and
Yes.
stuff like that. So
yes.
So anyway,
Yes.
I believe that your fundraiser went quite well. I mean, and I'll put a link below for that as well. It's via Buy Me a Coffee, isn't it? For Manawangi.
Yes, Buy Me a Coffee, and we've got we got the first 3,000 for the first bite.
Yes.
The lawyer has responded to foodstuffs, and I think foodstuffs are stalling, trying to make us go away and what have you, because we need the CCTV footage. The police have said there's nothing to see, but we know the police are liars. They said there was nothing to see at Albert Park as well.
Yes. Well, I mean, nothing to see is also good for you, because that means that Philippa didn't do anything. Sorry, I named her there, didn't I? Mind you, that's all right. She's named anyway.
No, it is, because we've all been doxed. All the Landy sisters.
That's right. I remember you saying. Yeah. Oops.
Going around screaming and crying about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, we're not running around seeking fucking sympathy and crying and screaming about it. We're just going, oh God, we've been doxed. And it's not a nice feeling.
That does mean that they didn't see Philippa doing anything either. Nothing to see here means, well, they didn't see her doing it. They didn't see her shouting. They didn't see her gesticulating.
2 independent witnesses.
Yeah. Two
independent witnesses have come forward and says, but that lady wasn't even shouting. She wasn't being anything. And on Plain Sight has got a really good article from Sarah Henderson about it.
Oh, brilliant, isn't it?
Yes, it is really good. And like I say, te reo is being taken by, and it is classist. I'm back to this classist issue.
Yeah.
Because it is. But thankfully enough New Zealanders have come forward and supported us, because this isn't just for us. We're doing this, but Philippa's not very well. Do you think she wants a legal battle, or do you think she's standing on her on the morals and the values that what they're doing is wrong for all of New Zealand?
Yes. And I think a lot of people are in line with that. They do realise that if, like you do this to one person, who's next? Who's next? What's next? What's next? Yeah.
Oh, we've had the T-shirt shop shut 3 times.
And
okay. Yeah.
But so that's by Print Mighty. They've shut it 3 times.
Yes. Oh, and then they asked us to not make a profit, to stop putting the picture at the top of the menu. So they'll take the profit, but we're not allowed profit. And I'm talking $5 a tea here before anyone comes in and talks about grifting. Don't you talk grifting in my name, you talk grifting in the Rainbow's name.
Yeah. Well, I think that your petition, I mean, this is why, I mean, I'll speak about this briefly just now. I've got an open letter to the Christchurch City Council for signing at the moment. It's available for anyone who's either a current or potential resident or visitor to Christchurch. And it's about them deliberately omitting the word sex from their draft equity and inclusion policy. So that will be, also I'll put the link in the bottom there to sign. Now that's why basically I asked the Women's Rights Party if we could host it on their website, because all these other platforms They
Yes,
cancel you because, you know, for these things, you know, yes, they're really unreliable, completely unreliable. You cannot, you know, if one little complaint and they cancel you.
yes,
So I
yes.
believe that the midwife's petition is on
And that's
there, and plus the one for the parliamentary petition. I believe the Women's Rights Party has hosted those on their website, haven't they? All the three of them, I think. Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. But anyway,
And I
the links
believe,
will be below.
like, maybe, you know, for people who aren't current, Kate, to what's happening, is when women, and this is across New Zealand, when we go to swimming pools, any man can come into our changing room by the magic words, "I'm a woman now." And he has free access to women and children in the changing rooms. And if we object, we get booted,
Yes,
not
I know.
him.
I
He can
know.
be a fully bearded cock and tack male, and we
Yeah.
get booted out of the women's changing rooms for him.
Yeah. I know.
You know,
I
I don't
know.
think,
Yeah.
yeah, you know, and when I'm there with my granddaughter, you can all but guarantee I'll be getting kicked out because, you know, little girls, you know, we have to do this for the youth. We have to be in this fight for the youth. Our parents, our grandparents, our forebears fought for us to have the fantastic Kiwi childhood we had. And now what are we leaving for our grandchildren? A steaming pile of rainbow woke rubbish where you can become a politician and get away scot-free and all the media's sympathy and you're nothing but a common thief.
Ah, I wonder who you're talking about.
Golly, I wonder too. So, you know, it's not right. This is all this, the path, you know, that path of wokeness is where madness lies.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the thing is, there's no parameters, there's no boundaries there.
That's
The
right.
boundaries.
That's
So
right.
it's like
Yes.
that, you know, it can only ever get more insane, you know,
And more
because
insane and
yeah,
worse and
yeah,
worse.
yeah.
And so you know, I just want to bring up the kahu porkai again about this thing with birds. There is one bird that's got all the other birds, all the other fables, all the other myths. Birds aren't nice. They're very dark characters.
I would
And
never
read
knew. I
Huffy
thought that.
Puffy.
Now look at the
Hey,
sparrows on the lawn. They just look lovely.
yeah.
Yeah,
But in all, you know, look at the Egyptian bird, the Greek mythology, you
yeah,
know, they're
yeah,
not nice. In
yeah,
history, they're not nice. And the fable of Hatupatu is about the bird woman. And
yeah,
then she's got, you know, feathers and a big beak, and instead of fingers, she's got claws and comes down and stabs, and yeah, you know,
yeah.
and that's what these academics think of us. That's what they think of our children, and that's what they think of our pregnant mums. And we are not okay with it. We are not okay with taking our language to do this.
Good, excellent. Yeah, yeah. And look, Di, I think on that note, I think that's a great note to end on. You know, your language is not for sale. It's not for
Correct.
uh, sale, not for just common usage. You know, it's a treasure.
Because it is a Tonga. And because of the no back to this no parameters, because it's, you know, it's young compared to English, there's no parameters, so people can just
Yes.
pick parts out of it. And yeah, that's what I was trying to say before about the parameters
Yes.
around it. There is none. Oh, yes. Well, look, they're talking about wrapping something up in harakeke. Oh, well, that's what we do. No, it isn't.
I
It
understand
isn't for
what you're
sale.
saying
It
because
isn't yours.
there are rules of language. Normally there are rules of language so that everybody understands,
Yes,
uses language in the same way and
yes,
understands what it means. You know, that's why there are
yes,
rules of language. But you're saying because it's a young language, like obviously it was only written recently, that they haven't developed those same parameters. So it's
yes,
wide open for
yes.
abuse. Yeah.
And like it
Shame.
was written, oh, I think 150, 200 years ago, we've had a written language, something like that.
Yeah.
Because Māori were illiterate before Pākehā in this country because of the missionaries.
Yes.
If you read some of the, so it isn't Māori isn't for everyone. It wasn't protected for everyone.
Yeah.
And people are just coming in like a vulture and plucking pits out. Oh, yes, we'll use this and then change the concept, and boom, we've lost the original meaning. And, and if you're going to do this, not one, we consulted. What? With each other. There's 103 recognised iwi in this country. Did you go around all 103 iwi consulting? As opposed to just in your little office?
They selected academic experts. This experts sort of thing amuses me. Like I will just I know I said something about winding up, but I'll just say about when the censors were inviting feedback on what how they put in gender and sex, questions about gender and sex in the second census, and they said they had a panel of experts. And I went, and I think it was 12, and I went through and looked at each one of them, and every single one of them had an investment of some sort in the TQ.
Yes.
Every single one of them.
Every single one. And as New Zealand wakes up to the TQ, Katrina, they'll see all the tie-ins to the TQ, and you can see when these organisations took on the TQ, because suddenly they're getting thousands, hundreds of thousands. It's got to stop, because and here's hoping, you never know where the things have happened. Little old New Zealand may be the one that puts the foot down and puts the brakes on. You just never know. So.
Anyway, show us your t-shirt. What's it say? Put the I put the she in.
I put the she in shenanigans.
Brilliant.
This was a fundraiser for Auntie Hey Hey.
It was a what? Sorry.
It's a fundraiser for Auntie Hey Hey.
Okay,
yes.
Right.
And so when we did our Voices for Children rally, instead of high vis or anything, we decided on a tea. And we said, this is a good tea. And, because we've got to try and support small business. Otherwise, they're going to go bust. Like New World, like who knows if the boycott's happening, but I have read a lot on Twitter that a lot of people have boycotted New World, and it will affect their bottom line if people have enough courage.
Yeah.
And if people have enough courage and wherewithal to support us, and, it's just, they deserved it. They're so rough and irreverent. Here we are. And what?
I know. I mean, like, it's almost like advocating for women is only just for, like, good woman. The nice woman.
Yes.
Yeah, the sort of, the right nice woman. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, those high-born women.
Yeah. Hey, Di,
awesome,
look, it's been a great talk. Yeah, absolutely fantastic. And we'll talk again another time. And
awesome.
Yep. All right. All the best.
Thank you, Katrina.
Okay.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.